Hello students and welcome back to our online session. Today we are going to discuss the concept of deadlock. Before moving further, just recall the previous lecture. In previous lecture, we were seeing the multi-level queue scheduling and multi-level feedback scheduling. First, multi-level queue scheduling. The multi-level queue scheduling is the class of scheduling algorithm which has been created for situation in which jobs or processes are easily classified into different groups such as foreground jobs and background jobs. Foreground jobs are nothing but interactive processes or job, and background jobs such as a batch processes. These jobs have a quite different response time requirement. So they have different scheduling algorithms. Foreground jobs may have priority over a background job. Means foreground jobs may have higher priority than background jobs. In short, foreground jobs have a higher priority and background jobs have a lower priority. The multi-level queue scheduling makes partition in the ready queue to make separate queues. Jobs are permanently assigned to one queue based upon some properties. And the jobs such as a memory size or job type. Each queue has its own scheduling algorithm. Sometimes foreground jobs might be scheduled by round robin algorithm, while the background jobs are scheduled by first come first serve algorithm. We were seeing the example, it having a 5 queues, that is a system processes, interactive editing processes, batch processes and student processes. In that, the jobs in the batch processes queue cannot get executed till the queue of the system processes, interactive processes and interactive editing processes get executed. If all the queues are empty, then the batch processes start executing. And if a process arrives in the editing process queue, then the batch job will be preempted. This is multi-level queue scheduling. Next, that is the multi-level feedback queue. In this scheduling, the processes are not permanently assigned to a queue on entry to the system. The processes are allowed to move between queues. A separate queue is maintained for processes with different CPU burst or CPU time characteristics. If a process use too much CPU time, it will be moved to a lower priority queue. Also, if a process wait too long in low priority queue, will be moved to higher priority queue. These forms of changing queue prevent starvation. Means the low priority processes are not get executed at the end of time slice. It become the starvation. So overcome this starvation, the processes waste too long time in low priority queue will be moved to the higher priority queue. This is the multi-level feedback queue characteristics. And today we are going to discuss the concept of deadlock. Let's see what is the deadlock. The deadlock is the permanent blocking of a set of processes that either compete for the system resources or communicate with each other is known as deadlock. In short, deadlock involves conflicting needs for resources by two or more processes. Let's take an example. In a multi-programming system, several processes may compete for a finite number of resources. A process requests resources, and if the resources are not available at that time, the process enters a waiting state. Sometimes a waiting process is never again able to change state because the resources it has requested are held by other waiting processes. This situation is called as a deadlock. Let's one another example. In multi-programming system, suppose there are two processes, that is process A and process B, and each wants to print a very large file. Process A requests permission to use the printer and the permission is granted. While process B then requests the permission to use a tab drive and it also permission is granted. Now process A asks for the tab drive, but the request is denied until process B releases it. Instead of releasing the tab drive, process B asks for the printer. At this time, both the processes are blocked and will remain so forever. This situation is called as a deadlock. So take a real world example of deadlock is traffic which is going only in one direction. Here a bridge is considered as resource. So when deadlock happens, it can be easily resolved if one car back up. Several cars may have to be backed up if deadlock situation occurs. So starvation is possible. Here in traffic situation, it is a bridge where pass the cars and it is a one direction. In both the direction, car will be go from right side and left side. The situation of deadlock, it is this at the middle. Deadlock will be occur at the middle where both the cars meet in the middle. This situation is called as a deadlock. This bridge is resource and these resource can be take the permission of this car as well as this car. So this situation is called as a deadlock. So consider one more example, that is the crossing a river that has a number of stepping stones. At most 1 feet can be on each stepping stone at a time. To cross a river, a person must use each of the stepping stones. We can view each person crossing the river as a process and each stepping stone as a resource. A deadlock occurs when two people start crossing the river from opposite side and meet in middle. That situation is called as a deadlock. Now let's study the system model of deadlock. A system consists of finite number of resources to be distributed among a number of competing processes. Deadlock can occur when processes have been granted exclusive access to devices, files. A system consists of finite number of resources can be distributed among a number of competing processes. When several copies of resources are available, any of them can be used to satisfy any request for the resources. Resources come in two types, that is preemptive resources and non-preemptive resources. A preemptive resource that can be taken away from the processes owing it without disturbing anything means a resource that can be taken away from the process without any ill effect is known as preemptive resources. For example, memory is an example of this kind of resources. Second, non-preemptive resources. that cannot be taken away from its current owner without causing the computation to fail. Means a resource that cannot be taken away from its current owner is known as non-preemptive resources. For example, printer, floppy disk, hard disk, it is the non-preemptive resources. A process must request a resource before using it and must release the resources after using it. A process may request many resources as it required from the available resources to carry out its designated task. In normal mode of operation, a process may utilize a resource in only one of the sequence. That is, request a resource, use the resource and release the resource. Request a resource. If request is not granted immediately, then requesting process must wait until it can acquire the resources. For example, process requires some memory to carry out its task, so requesting for the same. Next, use the resource. It means use the memory to perform its task. And last, that is the release the resource. It means release the memory to perform its task. Request and release operation can be accomplished through wait and signal operation. For each, use the operation system checks to make sure that the using processes has requested and have been allocated to the resource. The system table record whether each resource is free or allocated, and if allocated, then to which process is allocated. If process requests a resource that is currently allocated to another process, then it can be added to the queue of the processes waiting for this resource. For example, in a given diagram, the process 1 is holding a resource 1 and waiting for the resource 2, which is acquired by the process 2, and process 2 is waiting for resource 1. Means they represent the relationship between processes and resources. It is a graphical notations are used. In this diagram, the rectangle shows as resources named as resource 1 and resource 2, while the processes are represented in circle, that is process 1 and process 2, where arrow shows the relationship. Here resource 1 is allocated to process 1. That means process 1 holds the resource 1, and here resource 2 is allocated to process 2. In other words, process 2 holds resource 2. The moment it gets the resource, the direction of the arrow will change. These graphs are called as directed resources allocation graphs. They help us in understanding the process of detection of deadlock. In this diagram, it shows the scenario. Here, process 1 holds resource 1 and demand for resource 2, while process 2 holds resource 2 and demand for resource 1. This situation is called as a deadlock situation. This is called as a deadlock. So, the definition of deadlock, that is the permanent blocking of a set of processes that either compete for system resources or communicating with each other is known as a deadlock. So next, the necessary condition leading to deadlock means a deadlock situation can arise if the following four conditions hold simultaneously in the system. There are some conditions, in that condition deadlock will be occur. So there are four necessary conditions where deadlock will be occur. So we will see one by one these four conditions. First, that is a mutual exclusion. There should be a resource that can only be held by one process at a time. In the diagram below, there is a single instance of resource 1 and it is held by process 1 only. Means resource must be allocated to processes at any time in an exclusive manner and not on a shared basis for a deadlock to be possible. For example, a disk drive can be shared by two processes simultaneously. This will not cause a deadlock. But printer, tabs drive, plotter have been allocated to processes in an exclusive manner until the process completely finishes its work with it, which normally happens when process ends. This is called the deadlock. In short, at a time only one process can hold only one resources. Next condition, that is the hold and wait. A process can hold multiple resources and will request more resources from other processes which are holding them. In a given diagram, process 2 holds resource 2 and requests for the resource 1. It is called as a hold and wait. Process is hold resource 2 and wait for the resource 1. This calls the deadlock condition. Means even if process holds certain resources at any moment, it is possible for it to request for new ones. It will not give up the already held resources to be able to request for a new ones. If this is true, deadlock will take place, and if this is not true, a deadlock can never take place. Next condition, no preemption. A resource cannot be preempted from a process by force. Means the currently running process will not stop when high priority process enters in the system is called as a preempted. A process can only release a resources voluntarily. In a given diagram, process 2 cannot preempt the resource 1 from the process 1. It will be only released when process 1 release it voluntarily after its execution is complete. In short, resources cannot be preempted, that is, resource can only be released by the processes holding it after the process has completed task. The resources previously granted cannot be forcefully taken away from a process. They must be explicitly released by the process holding them. And last condition, the fourth condition is a circular wait. A process is waiting for the resources held by the second process, which is waiting for the resource held by the third process, and so on, till the last process is waiting for a resource held by the first process. This forms a circular chain. For example, here process 1 is allocated resource 2 and it is requesting for resource 1. Similarly, process 2 is allocated to resource 1 and requesting for the resource 2. This forms a circular chain. It is called as a circular wait. It is allocated wait. It's a circular wait. In short, a set of waiting processes. There are P0, P1, P2 to Pn, such that P1 is waiting for a resource which is held by P1. P1 is waiting for the resources which is held by P2. Likewise, Pn-1 is waiting for the resource which are held by Pn, and Pn is waiting for a resource which is held by P0. There must be a circular chain of two or more processes, each of which is waiting for resources held by the next member of the chain. It is necessary to understand that all these four conditions have to be satisfied simultaneously for the existence of deadlock. If any of them does not exist, a deadlock can be avoided. These four conditions are leading to the deadlock. Thank you.